Hey guys, this is Jenny with Pratt Family Homestead, and I owe you a crochet tutorial. I meant to do this last week, but last week ended up being a very crazy week, and I caught a cold, and I was coughing and sniffling, and nobody wants to hear that. So I am still sniffling a little bit, you can kind of hear it. So I apologize if that's in the video, but at least I'm not coughing. Anyways, we are going to do a basic dishcloth. Our dishcloth is going to be all single crochet. So if you don't remember how to do that, or you're still kind of trying to pick it up a little bit, I'll link the first video here. It goes over chain stitch, single crochet, and double crochet. So today is only the chain stitch, because that's how we start most of our projects, and single crochet. And I finally have a new camera, so I can get a little bit closer, and hopefully that'll be able to show you a little bit better what it is that we're doing. So I'm using red. These are going to be my dishcloths. I need some. So, red dishcloth, and this yarn is a cotton yarn. It's mostly cotton. I don't remember what it's mixed with. I don't have the label, but it's mostly cotton, so it doesn't have as much give as the acrylic, but it's what I have on hand that I wanted to use. And then I'm also going to use a size G hook because this yarn is a little bit thinner, a little bit finer, so the G hook. So that's what we're going to do today, and then after it's complete, I'm going to show you how to do a finishing edge on it, just to give it a little bit of a nicer appearance. And that can also translate into on blankets and scarves and stuff like that as well. So I will go ahead and show you how to make the dishcloth, and then when you're done with it and you're ready to do the finishing edge, you can just pick up with the video and follow along for that part. So let's get started. Okay, so to start our dishcloth, we need to make our slip stitch. So hold your tail, wrap around your fingers, place your hook under the first, grab the second, pull through, and tighten. Hold your working yarn in your left hand. Come from behind, loop over, pull through, do that again, loop over, oops, I dropped it, sorry, pull through, loop over, pull through. Now just to show how I hold stuff, and you of course can hold it any way that is comfortable for you, I have my working yarn going around my first finger and just resting in my hand. I kind of hold it with my pinky to keep the tension, so then I can just bring it around like that instead of having to actually like hold it like this and bring it forward. And then I hold my chain, my fingers, and my hook in my right hand because I am right-handed. I have not experimented for you left-handers. I have not tried to figure out a good way or any tips or anything like that yet, but I still do want to try to do that. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so now we're going to go to the first row. So here, this again is your chain of 21. first row, and we're doing all single crochet. So this first one right here is considered your first stitch for this row. So we're going to skip that. You're going to take your hook and you're going to push it in there. So you can see it kind of makes like a V. That one and that one make a V. This one from the previous stitch coming in, there's a gap that forms right here under this top part. And that's where you want to insert your hook. So put that in there. Your working strand is behind, and you want to cross over from the top, pull it through, yarn over from the top again, and pull it through both loops. So that's skipping the one stitch. That's considered your first stitch. So now you've just made number 2 for this row. So again, we're going to insert right here under that, just that top strand, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Again, my working yarn just kind of drapes across my fingers in the same way, and I hold the tension kind of with my pinky. I'm not pulling tight, but I'm not letting it be too loose that it becomes in the way or really loose loops or anything like that either. And then my chain is also across my hand so I can hold it in place. I hold my hook in my right hand like this. Some people are more comfortable like this. It's completely up to you. I don't find the comfort or the speed holding it like that. I'm more comfortable holding it this way. Sorry for the sniffles. Getting over a cold, that's why I didn't record last week. So we're going to take our hook, insert it into the next stitch, or next chain, I'm sorry. Yarn over from the back. It kind of automatically goes there, so you don't have to undo it. If it's already there, you can just leave it there. Pull it through, yarn over, pull it through both. This one's showing a good gap right there. That gap right there next to this twist is where you want to put, except I missed, put your hook, sorry. And it will kind of curve as you're working. Don't worry about that. That's just because these ones have stitches in them and these ones don't yet. It'll all flatten out and even out once you get your hook out of there. Yarn over, pull through one, yarn over, pull through both. And you want to continue this to the end of the row. If you're keeping count, great. You'll end up with 20 at the end. If you've lost count, you can go back through. The easiest way to count, you know you've got one here. So that's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I count the top loops. It makes it easier than trying to count in here where it's all twisted and confusing. On to row 2. Let my camera focus. Wake up, camera. Thank you. Okay. Row 2. You're going to chain 1. So yarn over and pull through. Now the best way that I have learned to turn your project is to take it and turn it away from you. And for that, that keeps that chain that you just did on the end facing outward, so it's not twisted and you're not struggling to find it to be able to finish off the next row. So that's just my little bit of information. So again, skipping the first one because this chain that you just did is considered your first stitch of the next row. So we're going to skip this gap here and we're going to move on to this one right here. You're going to insert your hook, and remember, now that we've done a single stitch instead of a chain, that when you look on top, you're actually going to be under both loops when inserting your hook. That's the way you want it to be. So you've got your hook in, you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. So now you can see already that that's 1, 2 stitches. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So you can see it's got a nice straight line here. Bottom still looks curved a little bit, but again, it's because you're working. That will straighten out. You've got a nice straight line going here. Doing the next stitch and stuff, it kind of does tighten up the ones prior to it. So a little loose isn't always bad as long as you can kind of get them tightened back up a little bit. But again, you don't want it so tight that you don't have a little gap right here, because you need to be able to insert your hook from row to row. So you've got to have a little bit of give in your stitches. You don't want it too tight. Okay, as we get a little bit closer to the end of the rows, this is always where it gets a little confusing, and a lot of people end up skipping the last stitch because they don't realize that they have to get it, because it kind of angles down, and you've got to get that in order to keep those straight lines on the edges. So I've got one here that I'm going to do. Now I have to come get the one that last chain, because this is our chain that we did down here, and we skipped that first one to start our first row. So we have to get that first one, which is, for the first one, is this big loop right here, or at least on mine. It's a little loose. We've got to make sure we get that one to give it that nice straight edge, and that will keep your project from decreasing by 1 on each row and giving you an oblonged project. Lopsided. That was the word I was looking for. Alright, next row. Row 3. Focus camera. Focus. Focus! Yay! Okay, so again, chain 1, and you're going to take your project and turn it away from you so it's back into your left hand. Hold your working yarn, hold your project. Here we go. Skipping this first one, moving on to number 2. You're going to single crochet all the way across. So here's my 20 rows. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to do the edging. What you're going to start with is a single crochet in the same spot as where you ended. Okay, and now you want to do a single crochet at every row. So we're going to start here. You're going to place it in between these two strands right here. So push your hook in there. Some of them are going to be a little bit snug. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. The next row you can kind of see the space under the stitch. Put it through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Next row, again you're going to go between these two strands here. So, push your hook in there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Then there's that space. Next one you put between the two strands. Next row is a space. It all just depends on which row you started on and which row you finished on, based on how you're holding your project. So you can see that we're putting a single crochet at the beginning of every row, and it's giving it a nice curve around the corner and a nice stitched finish instead of having it look all bumpy and weird. So the next one is in between these two strands. And then in the gap. Between the two strands. In the gap. Okay, and then on the corner you want to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch again. That'll give it the rounded edge. You could do 3 if you wanted to give it more of a sharp corner rather than a rounded edge. I'll show you what that looks like. So then when you would continue on, it would give it more of a point than it would a curve. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with 2 since that's what I did on my other corner. And then you're going to, this is where we first started our project, you can tell by the tail. So this is our chain. So we know that there's 20 going across. You're just going to find this gap. Well, it's not really a gap, I guess I can't call it a gap, but it's kind of like a little gap. You can kind of see it in a couple of them. And that's where you're going to place your hook. So we're going to start right here under this stitch. Single crochet. And then here's the next stitch right here. Going to go under there. Single crochet. Here's the next one. Now, I know that I haven't covered like tucking in tails, so here's a good way, skipped a step. Here's a good way to tuck in this starter tail, is when you go to do your border on this side, just hold it down flat and go ahead and stitch over it as well as doing that. And so we'll cover that in just one moment. To get my 2 corner ones in, and we're just going to go right over that knot. And we're just going to hold this tail down here. Start right here. And that's just going to tuck that tail in as we go ahead and put our border in. And then I'll show you how to sew in the ending tail once we finish our project and cut our yarn. Trying to look at the camera again. Okay. I want to go here in between the 2 strands. Oops, scraping the camera with my hook. Next one here. Here's my next row here. I had a strand twist right here. There we go. It was blocking me from getting it. Okay, so now to finish it off, since this row is already got the finished look, and we had just continued our corner there, you're just going to do a single crochet in the very beginning. And then you're going to do what's called a slip stitch, and this is going to join this finish edge to the beginning of this row, and that's going to give it the curve for the corner. So the first stitch that you did on this row, you're going to slip your hook under it, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull it through all the loops on your hook. So you're going to pull it through that stitch and also right there on the edge, the last one that's on your hook. And that gives it a finished, complete round. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, over, pull through, and then give yourself a little bit of extra. And so now what you need is a pair of scissors. I thought I could reach with my other hand and I can't. And you're going to cut in that big loop. Like that. And you're going to take your working yarn and pull it out. And you're going to take this tail and you're going to grab those 2 chains and you're just going to pull, and that's going to give it a nice tight knot. And then I'll show you how to use your needle to go ahead and take this tail and tuck it in, so it'll look like this when you are done, a nice finished edge. You can see that not all my stitches were quite the same. We got a couple bigger gaps, but I'm sure it'll wash dishes just the same. So let me grab my needle and I'll show you how to tuck that in. Okay, so I have my crochet needle, and the way you're going to do this, you can do it two ways. You can go ahead and put your tail in and then weave it through, or you can weave the needle and then just slip your tail in. I weave the needle first because I don't like fighting with trying to keep my tail in place. So you want to find a stitch that's, somewhere around close. Go ahead and slip your needle under. And you don't want to do just like straight lines, because then when you wash it, it's going to pop back out. And even so, it still might pop back out depending on how many times you wash it and stuff anyways. So, but the way that I do it is I find one in the row right there, and I move down a row, and I hook my needle under one, and then I'll find one here. A little bit tighter stitches are good because that helps tuck the tail in and hold it in place. Then I'll move down a row again, and I some of them I'll grab from the back side and hook under, or I'll go this way. You just want to kind of make it so the tail will have a difficult time of trying to come back through. Then come back up a row, and just kind of weave back and forth a little bit. And you don't have to go very far. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I'm going to squish all this together and hold it the best I can. Take my tail, slip it in, pull through. Oh, I missed. Let's try that again. There we go. Got them all. And I'm just going to finish pushing my needle right through. And yes, it's all bunched up. I'm going to pull it a little bit tight so it bunches it a little bit. Grab your scissors again. Go ahead and cut. Careful not to cut any of your loops because there's no way to fix that. And then you just smooth it out. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you made some for yourself. You can give them away to make great gifts because you can make them any color to coordinate with anybody's kitchens. And like I said, they're machine washable, which is nice. So if you like this, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We also have an Etsy store now, Pratt Family Homestead. Be sure to check that out. And you can always email us at prattfamilyhomestead@gmail.com. And let me know what you think of this, and share with me your dishcloths. So feel free to email us pictures of those. So I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.